This video will give you feedback on the source discussion, which was Pericles' view of Athenian democracy. A little bit of background to this: Pericles was, in all but name, the leader of Athens. He was the general who was elected by the Athenians. And in this speech, he's talking about the Athenian warriors who've died fighting against Sparta in the Peloponnesian War. So he's talking not just about isn't it sad they died, but why they died, what they were fighting for, what makes Athens better than Sparta. It's sometimes compared to the Gettysburg Address in that it's not just about warfare and mourning, it's also about fighting for the ideals that your state represents. The first question asked, according to Pericles, what are the benefits of Athenian democracy? Well, he stresses that everyone is equal in the eyes of the law. Everyone has a say in making the law, and nobody gets more of a say because of their wealth or status. Everyone is equal, everyone has an equal say. The second question was about the duties of a citizen, according to Pericles. He makes it clear that although you have rights, you also have responsibilities. You have a responsibility to obey the law. You've had a say in making it, therefore you have placed yourself under it and need to obey it. He also maintains that citizens need to take an active interest in their democracy. There's a famous passage where he says that here we don't say that a man who takes an interest only in himself is a good man. We say he's somebody who should, excuse me, I'm trying to remember the quotation off the top of my head. Somebody who takes an interest in the affairs of state is a good citizen. He has no business here if he only minds his own business and doesn't take an interest in the business of the polis. This saying is sometimes shortened and simplified. You might see it sometimes in memes as the saying, if you don't take an interest in politics, politics will take an interest in you. So you have a duty to take part in the political system if you want to reap the benefits of living in a democracy. Incidentally, the word politics comes from the Greek word polis. These were the first political entities we've seen where citizens actually had a say in running them, where politics mattered as opposed to simply the king telling you what to do and what the law was. The last question was the extent to which this matched the reality of Athens. Pericles paints a very rosy picture of Athens, but he ignores a few things. Not all people were citizens. Women were not citizens, slaves were not, also foreigners were not, and Athens had a lot of foreigners because it was a trading merchant city, so foreign merchants came in. These people were called metics. They had no say. By Pericles' day, metics had been redefined so that even if you had been in Athens for 3 generations, if your grandparents were not Athenian citizens, you still had no citizenship. On top of that, despite the attempts of the Athenians to make their constitution immune to politicians who were buying influence, nevertheless, the elected positions, of which Pericles' position as general was one, did tend to be elected by people from the same ruling elites. The same few families dominated, despite all the other ways in which Athenian democracy could not be subject to domination by the rich. The practice of, for example, filling the council with people chosen at random made sure that the rich could not get an influence, but the election of generals and the election of treasurers meant that you had all the problems which are familiar to any democracy, that the people with most influence and most wealth tended to be able to buy votes or influence people to vote for them.